hoping to improve on that today.
Yeah, the full lineup will be coming on your screens now for the under-20 men's race. We'll pick out some of the big contenders among them. There are lots in. We'll try and give you a look at them on the start line as we shoot across. The most successful nations, the way the starting pen works, the most successful nations at the last edition of the championships get the plum draw in the middle of the starting pens, and then as it works out there, the smaller nations who might only have one or two athletes get put to the side in the less successful nations. So it helps to have come from a nation that's a good track record at the European cross-country championships. And I'm sure there'll be many people watching their sons, their brothers, their friends, their club mates from around Europe and indeed across the world here today. And thank you all for joining us here for the SPAR European Cross Country Championships, and indeed a good time to give a shout out to the European Athletics partners SPAR, La Gruyere and EBU. Your support is very much appreciated by all at European Athletics and the wider athletics community. So the under-20 men's race. Hannah, this is an absolutely loaded field, quantity and quality. It's tough to pick a winner, but I think, do we start with the 18-year-old Norwegian Abdullahi Dahir Rabi?
Yes, I think that is a good place to start. And here we are. Well, yeah, you can see him there, Arabi there on the left of the screen. Only just cleared to run for Norway, but it's really exciting to see him. Can he follow in Jakob Ingebrigtsen's steps by keeping the junior title in Norway?
Yeah, that's the British champion there on the right of your shot. Henry McLuckie won the British trial in Liverpool there. There is Abdullahi Dahir Rabi. He has had a stressful week. He didn't know if he was coming for much of the week. He got cleared by World Athletics to run for Norway here only 2 days ago. And there are two of the best Irish men, Dean Casey on the right, Nick Griggs on the left. Both have run below 14, or sorry, Dean has run below 14 minutes for 5,000 metres. Nick on the left is the European under-20 3,000 metre champion. He's only 16 years old. One to watch in a big way today. As we move across, there is David Cantero, a man who was a triathlete up until last year but has had a hugely successful year to date, alongside Paul Oriach. He is the European under-20 steeplechase champion on the left, and Cantero on the right was the silver medalist at the European under-20 championships for 5,000 metres. Spain with a very strong hand in this race, as do the Danes. The two men you're looking at there are Axel Vang Christensen and Joel Ibler Lelesso. Lelesso won the European under-20 5,000 metre title. Christensen, meanwhile, was the Danish champion at senior level this year over 10 kilometres at the age of just 16 and was European under-20 steeplechase silver medalist. The Danes are going to feature heavily here as we move across the start line. 97 athletes in all, 3 medals individually, 3 for the team, and about 7,000 fans on the line as we set off for the under-20 men's race, the first of the magnificent 7 races here at the SPAR European Cross Country Championships. And as expected, Hannah, it is a swift start.
You can see there the Danes and the Spanish team there, just Oriach already at the front. He's trying to show that track speed, and we said they're going to start fast down the hill, and I really think it's important to get yourself towards the front of the field and out of trouble very early on. It's counterintuitive. You don't want to fudge yourself with lactic in the first couple of minutes, but maybe you have to be able to be in a good position and contend as the race develops.
Yeah, a 6,000 metre race can feel like a long way if you go too hard, so it's a very hard balance to strike. Obviously, the Irish athletes know this course well. Nationals, of course, is not allowed to be held on the course in the year of European cross country, but for the last, I think, 2016 to 2020, for 5 years running, the National Irish Cross Country Championships were held on this course, and many of the athletes have been training on it. As we see the field going down there, and it is Axel Vang Christensen, the 17-year-old Dane, who is leading out his teammate Joel Ibler Lelesso. It's Denmark 1-2 at the moment, and these men have eyes on the podium, a team and individual. Christensen is a superb athlete. He's a 13:44 5,000 metre man, an 8:42 steeplechaser. And as coach said, with his long legs, he's built for speed, and he said he has a will and a talent I have not seen in others.
I think what we might see at the front of the field here with these two Danes is a domestic rivalry playing out on a continental level, and they've been pushing each other all season. Lelesso there, he's tracking his teammate Christensen. I think they will push each other and by consequence really get this race moving. But Christensen, he's renowned for going hard early on, so he's employing his normal tactics here on this European field.
Yeah, it's really going hard from the gun here, and we can see a lot of the men we thought might be in the medals are already up there. So it is Denmark 1-2, and it is, I suppose, the the less favoured Irishman, Dean Casey, in terms of the individual battle, who has taken up pole position behind him. Dean Casey is 18 years old. He's a Clare man, and Clare men, they're made for tough weather and tough cross-country conditions. One of the best Irish cross-country runners ever was Seamus Power, who comes from the same neck of the woods as Dean Casey in third. He's coached by Pat Hogan, and he is a tough runner with a 13:58 PB on the track this year. He was 6th in the European 5,000 metre final at under 20 level this summer. But the race favourite, we think anyway, Abdullahi Dahir Rabi, beat both of these Danish athletes at the Nordic under 20 cross country championships in Sweden last month, and he didn't just beat them, he beat them well.
Absolutely, and Rabi, he had a very calm first kilometre there or so, and now he's moved himself up to run with the Danish duo at the front. And I think it would be really special if Norway could make it 5 years in a row with the junior men's title. I'm sure that's what Rabi's got his sights on. I was pleased to see, I think they put some sand down on that corner we were concerned about. That didn't look as muddy, so hopefully that will help the athletes.
You can see the legions of supporters there. It is 10 a.m. on a Sunday morning, but there's certainly no hangovers amongst the crew here. They're up bright and early to cheer on these athletes from Ireland and indeed around Europe. And two of the best teenage talents in Europe are right at the front now. Abdullahi Dahir Rabi and Axel Van Christensen, the 18 and 17-year-old respectively, from the Nordic countries as they go into the turn.
One thing I'd like to point out here that's very interesting about this race is, since we didn't have a European Championships last year, there isn't a very large proportion of athletes running, and the same goes for the under-20 women's race, with experience from these championships in the past. In fact, our counted only 9 that competed in 2019 championships. So there's a lot of unknowns here, which makes it even more exciting, I think.
I think it does, yeah. One of those men is Lelesso, and he was 16th in Lisbon at just 16, so he's there in 3rd place at the moment, so he does have that experience. But you're right, Mark, a lot of these men will be running at a level that they've never competed before, but they look pretty comfortable. Van Christensen there, stretching out. He was challenged a little bit by Rabi there towards the end of this first lap, but he's pushed to the fore again. I think sometimes when you're a natural lead runner, you want to just really do that and protect that pole position. Hopefully we'll get our first look at the team scores on this first lap as well as they come through. Yeah,
we'll keep a close eye on the team race. I'm sure Denmark is featuring very well at the moment with 2 in the top 4 there. I'm sure Ireland as well with 2 in the top 10. Their 3rd man is back in about 15th, and the Brits as well have 2 in that leading pack, and their 3rd man is in around the 12th position. So it looks like Denmark, Ireland and Great Britain at the moment, but we'll check the official splits here because the athletes do have transponders on their running spikes, and it looks like Christensen is making a big bold move here. He is not hanging around. He is using that strength he's developed over a 10-kilometre cross country. This will feel like a relative sprint after winning the Danish title recently. He is going hard from the gun.
See Abdullahi Dahir Rabi there looking around a little bit. Are we going to go with him? Is this move real? Does this guy know what he's doing, or should we let him go and get him on the next lap? And there's some decisions here to be made in this lead group. Do they let Christensen run away, or do they work as a group to pull him back? And we can see as well, you've got that big gap back to the sort of 15th position in that second pack as well. The race is really breaking up, and that's really important for team points. Yeah, there's men in this front group here, they're going to be scoring some really low points for their team, but you've got a gap back to those next runners. They need to think about bridging that gap and picking up some extra, well, dropping some extra points for their team. You want the least points possible.
As we see the team standings, it is indeed Great Britain at the front and Israel in second at the moment. They're packing very well, their top 3. Not so much featuring at the front, but they're obviously doing very well in that second pack. But Christensen has blown this race apart. This is a strong move. Will it backfire for him? He's only 17 years old and he has taken this race by the scruff of the neck. But it looks like Rabi in second has said, right, enough, this is getting dangerous. It may only be the second of 4 laps, but he has plenty of experience racing against Christensen, and he's decided, I'm going to have to start chasing because it looks like Axel Van Christensen is not coming back.
It looks to me like the rest of that pack are happy to let Rabi do that work to pull them back to Axel Van Christensen, and he knocked 20 seconds off his personal best at the European Under-20 Championships this summer to get that silver medal over the steeplechase. So there's a part of me that wonders whether he's really been tested yet, if he's getting those huge personal bests. So maybe he feels that he's got the calibre to run away from this field when perhaps you wouldn't suspect that on paper. But as Mark Butler said, we haven't seen these guys for the last year. They've all jumped onto the scene and developed so much as athletes.
And on that occasion when he won the silver medal in the European Under-20s, he was leading until the final barrier, and then Pau Oriach of Spain reeled him in to win the gold medal. So let's not forget what happened then. The same sort of pattern unfolding here, perhaps.
Yes, certainly. Christensen has taken this race on from the gun. We see the two Irishmen there coming through. They're trying to keep contact in that battle, but could it be a battle for the silver and bronze at the moment at an individual level? But he hasn't, I suppose, extended too much of his advantage since he's taken that initial 15 to 20 metres.
No, he hasn't. I don't know. I think that gap could be growing a slight little bit, and I thought Rabi was going to be the man to bridge that gap and commit to trying to reel in Van Christensen, but as every 200 metres, 400 metres clicks off, they're not really closing up on him, and no one really seems to want to make that move. Henry McLuckie there at Great Britain, he looked like he might be moving into that second position. He had a really strong run at our British trials, and he did that all in the latter stages of the race. So watch out for Henry McLuckie and maybe a big last 2 kilometres from him.
Yeah, it could be a big kicker, but he's certainly taken command at the moment. As we come up at the halfway point, Christensen, as you can see, that advantage is, I think you're right, Hannah, that is extending. Rabi is doing his best to lead what you would call, I suppose, the peloton back towards him, but it looks like he's making no real impact at the moment, because Axel Van Christensen is putting on a clinic of distance running through these first 2 laps. And it's only 3k in, a lot can change, a lot can happen, and there are some tricky corners here, but we'll see what happens with Axel Van Christensen over the last 3k. Rabi continues to lead the chase from behind. Rabi, he was not sure about competing here in the recent days. He had a stressful week. He said he was watching the Champions League games on Tuesday night when his coach called him and told him he might not be cleared in time to run for Norway. He's been living in Norway for 7 years and he got his citizenship back in September, but it was only on Thursday then, I think, he got clearance from World Athletics to get here, and he had to be initially put on the start list. He was added to the start list at the 11th hour, and thankfully he's able to take his chance here and take his shot at gold. But is it only a shot at silver at the moment? Because as we see, Christensen has built a sizable advantage to the halfway point.
And you can't underestimate that stress. You want to be relaxing on the week of a race and focusing on your race plan and executing that. And for Rabi from Norway, that must have been so stressful to not even know if you're competing. And he's halfway through this men's under-20 race. And at the moment, watching the gold medal run away with Axel Van Christensen of Denmark. But we are only halfway through the race.
Yeah, Rabi said he didn't sleep at all on Tuesday night. He was so stressed about it, but he looks to have recovered pretty well here in Dublin, and he is in leading that battle for the silver medal as we pan back through the field. And while these athletes won't be in contention for medals, as we said, the team medals can often come down to that third score. It used to be 4, it's 3 nowadays, and it will all hinge on maybe you're back in 40th or 30th or 50th position, but if you can beat the third man, or even one of your 4th or 5th men, can put more men between one of the rival nations' third men, it will help your cause to get on a team podium, as we see the Irish packing well there, and certainly the Brits are up there as well in the team race.
The Irish are packing really well. When we saw them come through the lap in front of our commentary position, there were 3 of them together, but you can see Britain there still in the lead, but that was Ireland there, 27 points in second place, and Israel have slipped back a tiny bit. So I'd love to see those Irish men work together to stay into that silver medal. Let's see it. Let's hope they don't catch the British team, but really strong packing there from both of those nations.
Yeah, it'd be good to give the home nation something to cheer about here at the first race of 7 to come here today, or 6 more to come, as we see a faller. That was, I think, the Italian athlete who went down at the bend there, and that is not good for him. I think that's actually Adisu Gwadia of Israel who went down there, the 19-year-old. As we see here rounding the turn, and we said it, Hannah, not to tempt fate or to curse him with the commentator's curse, but we said that could be a tricky corner if you take it at speed.
And I think just wait till we've got the mixed relay going on there. If you're just running one lap flat out, that corner is going to be tricky. But I'm so impressed by Axel Van Christensen here. At just 17 years of age, he holds 38 Danish under-20 records, which he's very proud of that, and a senior Danish cross-country champion. Into this 3rd lap of 4 now in this under-20 men's race. Has he judged it right? That is the beauty of athletics, isn't it? He has to have judged his effort right to hold off any charge. I do feel that Rabi of Norway, he's strong, and I think he could do a lot lot of damage in this last couple of laps.
Yeah, and this is definitely a breakthrough run there by the young man who fell at that corner. We see him there in the blue, Adisu Gwadia of Israel. He was 11th at the European Under-20 final over 3,000 metres earlier this summer, but this is a breakthrough run from here. He is hanging on to that bronze medal at the moment. Even after that fall, it's always a hard thing when you fall in a cross-country race. It really does just wind you a little, disrupts your rhythm. Cross-country is all about trying to maintain a rhythm in a setting where rhythm is a very difficult thing to develop, even if there is plenty of good running on this course. But Christensen, that lead is out up to over 100 metres. And Rabi was talking very confidently in the Norwegian media in terms of facing his rivals, his big rivals here today at those Nordic Under-20 cross-country championships last week. He said he's only got better since then, and he said he was so superior that day, and I've become better, not worse, since then. But one man who's got a lot better since then is Axel Vang Christensen. Look what he has done to this, one of the best under-20 and deepest cross-country fields we've had at these championships.
Christensen, he has really blown this field apart, but if you look further back down the field, Rabi's done a lot of damage as well. They were running as a pack. There was a pack of 8 or 9 men there running together. So he's done something. He has done an injection of pace. It's just not enough to live with Axel Vang Christensen at the moment. As they hear the bell, that will be a welcome sound for Axel Vang Christensen. One more lap to hold on to this junior men's title.
Yeah, he is looking supreme at the moment, and it looks like our medals may be set. Maybe it will only be one Dane on the podium, but I'm sure Joel Ibler Lelesso will be doing his best to claw back a place there, and he is close to Adisu Gwadia of Israel. He is tracking him down a bit, and I think that is Henry McLucky of Britain, is it, back in 4th place, who is, yes it is, he is leading the charge, and we have a huge pack there in contention for 5th to probably 12th, 13th, 14th position. There is a horde of athletes, and in the battle between Britain and Ireland, the close rivals from across the water, that will come down to who comes out well in that 3rd pack back there. We have 3 Brits, we have 3 Irishmen. What a dust-up this is going to be for the team medals. They'll be coming into around that corner in the far right of your shot at the moment. We have 10 athletes in contention. The gold race, the battle for gold, looks to be set, barring disaster for Axel Vang Christensen. The race for silver may already be done with Abdullahi Dahir Rabi out on his own there in 2nd. It's a great battle for 3rd at the moment, though, with Joel Ibler Lelesso, a 13:40 5k performer, a 7:49 3k performer, and the European under-20 5,000 metre champion. He's up to 3rd, but look at this. This is back. The first athlete here is going to be in 5th position, and the 2 Brits are just ahead of 2 Irishmen at the moment. 3 Irishmen as it is in this pack of, what's that, 10 athletes. This is going to decide the team race, whether the Brits or the Irish get on top in that chasing pack. And as we pan back through the field, we'll see Israel were in 3rd position. As we see there, great shot of that's Abdel Lajal in the centre shot there with that bleached hair from the Providence College student, the freshman student over there. He would have been 3rd fastest Irishman on paper coming in, but certainly looks like he's going to be a key scoring member here. And it is Britain still hanging on ahead of Israel, and then Ireland in 3rd. So Israel also packing brilliantly there, as we see Ivry, that's Matan Ivry also in that pack. They're in contention for the gold here. So Ireland, Britain and Israel look to be the 3 for the team medals, but I think, Hannah, it looks to be headed the way of the Brits.
There's going to be, everything could change in this. With only 3 to score, everything could change in this last lap with that big pack there. Henry McLucky in 5th at the moment. If he gets swallowed up by that pack, I can't even do the maths on that. But the maths I can do is on Axel Vang Christensen. He ran a 4:33 and then a 4:34 for his 2nd and 3rd lap, so really consistent, and he stretched his lead out to 14 seconds. So if anything, he's getting further ahead from the silver medal position, which is still in the hands of Norway and Rabi.
Yeah, Rabi is doing his very best there in 2nd, but the tables have hugely been turned, and he must be wondering, the 18-year-old Norwegian, just what has happened since the Nordic Under-20 Championships last month. He put 10 seconds on Axel Vang Christensen in that event, and now he's finding himself probably 15 to 20 seconds behind.
And Denmark haven't won a men's gold medal at these championships for 24 years, and that was Carsten Jorgensen in 1997, and he only won by 1 second, and I think the winning margin may well be bigger than that in this occasion.
Gold looks to be headed to Denmark, and it looks like a bronze medal is also heading to Denmark, because Lelesso has left Gwadia and he is out on his own in that battle for 3rd, and Gwadia is being reeled in by the pack.
Well, Gwadia here, that's going to have team implications as well. Israel were in that silver medal position. There's their 2nd counter. but you've got second and third counters for Britain there, and Ireland for me just slipping back a tiny bit. And Henry McLuckie there as well. That was our first counter for Britain. He's now third counter for Britain, so it's really been a lot of change. But I was going to say, Cathal, for you, I think Axel van Christensen had a bout of COVID in the autumn. From what I heard, he was very ill, so it could be that he's building back into fitness, and that's how he's managed to get a jump and reverse that result of the Nordic Cross Country Championships.
He's certainly recovered well today, because he has torn this field asunder from the beginning. It's what we say, a risky way to run, I suppose, an under-20 European title, to just go that hard from the beginning, but he knew what he could do. And Axel van Christensen turns for home, the 17-year-old Danish athlete. He has a good 100 to 150 metres clear. He will have this home straight all to himself. As we said earlier in the race, his coach said with his long legs, he's built for this sport. He has a will and a talent I have not seen in others. And we've seen Jakob Ingebrigtsen in recent years monopolise this race, and we are seeing a talent and a will here in Axel van Christensen that looks very, very special indeed. The 17-year-old Dane powers to the line. He could be a great Danish distance runner, breaking a 24-year drought for individual gold here at the European Cross Country Championships. Christensen is king in Dublin. And we see it looks like Rabi is hanging on for the silver medal ahead of Lelesso in third, and Paul Oriach is unleashing that furious kick. He might get that bronze medal yet. Rabi is a tired athlete coming home for silver. Lelesso needs to just look around him and make sure he's going to get the bronze. I think he is. It's Rabi for second, Lelesso for third, and it is Paul Oriach in fourth. And now the dust up for the team medals. It is the Ukrainian athlete there, Abdelajel, in sixth for the Irish. Great run from him. Israeli athletes coming. Gwadia has faded badly. He's lost a few places there. Dean Casey coming across the line for the Irish, along with Nick Griggs there on the right ear shot. Henry McLuckie on the left has also faded, but I think the Brits are going to be able to hang on for gold. As you see, all the athletes absolutely emptying the tank here to get across the line. Every place matters, and we see dives. People are going to be dropping to the floor like bowling pins here. And we're going to await the final confirmation on those team results, but we think it might be gold headed across the water to Britain.
I think Britain, that British team there, they did save a little bit for that last kilometre. It was a lot of tired men there, and you can see that Irish team. Let's hope they held on for a medal. I can't quite figure out between Ireland and Israel what would have happened, but luckily they're all wearing chips, so we don't have to figure it out. Someone else can figure it out for us.
Yeah, let's let the computer do it for us. It's too confusing, cross country. But as you can see, the effort, it's a cliched thing to compare sport to a battlefield, given this is still just sport, but it does always look like something of a war zone. And one man, though, who's not on the ground is on the far left of your shot there, Axel van Christensen. He looks like he could go around again, Hannah. Yeah, he's like, well, what's the big deal, guys? I've ran away from a field there at just 17 years old. That was seriously impressive. And Paul Oriach there, we saw him have a really strong finish to fourth position. I thought we might see him finish higher up, another young man that's had a great breakthrough season. But the medals did go to Denmark, Norway, and then Denmark for that bronze. So a great day for those nations. Certainly, Denmark is off to a flyer here. And Axel van Christensen, what a run from him. And we believe he may be bound for Britain, perhaps, in the years ahead. He's been having some look at some British universities. He has shown some interest in the University of Birmingham, where I did all my training, and it'd be wonderful to get him on the canals of Birmingham with this University of Birmingham students further down in the field as well. Blowing kisses to the sizable crowd here in Fingal, Dublin, at the Sport Ireland campus. Axel van Christensen, a name to remember. An athlete who could go a long, long way in European distance running, and indeed at a global level. 17 years old, and he is the king of under-20 cross-country in Europe in 2021. As you see, lots of athletes carrying giant splotches of mud on the back and fronts of their singlet there. There's been many a casualty, I'm sure, gone down at those turns. Well, they would have had the best running of the course. Quite frankly, it's only going to get muddier from here. So we'll have a quick look back at how Axel van Christensen won that first gold medal for Denmark. It was a steady start, but midway through that first lap, he said, enough is enough, I'm off. Catch me if you can, and absolutely no one could catch him. Axel van Christensen, we worried, was it too bold? Was it too much too soon? it was anything but for a man who was Danish senior champion this year, racing Europe's best under 20s over 6 kilometres. It felt like a bit of a breeze by the looks of things. And lots of athletes, or lots of fans there who arrived, will be filing across the course there. They were only minutes away from the under 20 women's race. Another cracking race coming up then. It'll be great to get a window into the